Good evening and welcome to another episode of Guru Codes. I'm actually on location at Tekorama right now, or well, not the actual location but I'm in the hotel. I'm going to speak there about Xamarin Test Cloud. So I thought to myself, while I'm trying out my demos to make sure they work, damn you demo gods, why not record them so I can make a Guru Codes episode out of it. So here we are. Today I'm going to tell you everything about Xamarin Test Cloud and how to write tests for it. It's going to be a level 200-ish session because you should know something about Xamarin already. And well, let's just start and see if you can get along. So I'm going to demonstrate this by an app created by James Montemagno. The Coffee Tipper app, which is a sample app that lets you calculate the tip you need to give whenever you go get a coffee. So this is what it looks like in the iPhone 7 simulator. You can just enter a subtotal. So if I change this to 5, and you can select the kind of coffee here, an espresso or latte or whatever. Pour over coffee, that's a bit more work, so the tip goes up. If it's tampered, then it's a little bit more work as well. And if you're at Starbucks, then you're good to go. You don't need to leave a tip there because they spelled your name wrong, that kind of stuff. And there's a reset button, which resets all of the form and lets you start over again. So it's a pretty simple app, but we're going to see how to rest some tests for it. It's a basic Xamarin Forms app, so we have the PCL here, which is the shared library, and we have the Droid and iOS projects here. And you see there's also a UI tests project already here. If there wasn't one there, you just say add new project, and there's one template here, the UI test app platform, template, and you can just add it by clicking next, giving it a name, and it will add one like you see here. You can also create a separate project for a separate platform, so for iOS there is one, and for Android there is one. They are not too different besides, well, let me show you. Here you specify this is the class where you define your tests, and you notice these kind of attributes: test fixture, setup, test. They look probably very familiar if you have worked with C# and unit testing before, because the UI test built by Xamarin is based on the NUnit framework, so it should all look pretty familiar to you. I have commented out the test fixture for Android right now for demo purposes. I'm just going to show you on iOS, but it will work similarly on the Android platform. So what you see happening here, when this class is instantiated with our tests, the platform is injected. And if we look at the UI test platform, you will see a app initializer. And here it will inject some iApp interface specified by the platform, and by that implementing that interface, it knows which methods it should use to simulate a tap or a swipe or whatever. So here we have the setup method, which is the one with the setup attribute, and this is going to be ran before each test, as the name suggests. So here is a new app instance is retrieved, so we get clean tests every time. And if you want, you can do some more stuff here, like create a mock data set or whatever you can think of. There's already some tests here. I'm not going to walk you through that, but instead let's just create a new one. So we're going to create an attribute test, public void test1, very descriptive name. And let's just see, here we have the app object, and it has a lot of methods you can use. Pinch in to zoom, enter text, double tap with whatever clear text. So basically anything a user can do, you can simulate with this app object right here. Another thing that's very useful if you start composing your tests is the REPL, the read, evaluate, print loop. So if we were to insert that here and rebuild our UI tests project, it would take a little bit. And then we see the test1 coming up between our tests here. So if I double click it, then only this specific test will start running. The simulator will come up and it will restart this app to create a new clean session for us to work with. So you will see the app come up. First you see some icon flashing, which is the device agent, which is responsible for simulating the tests for us. And then we will see the coffee tip app come up, and it's running our test1, which is the app REPL. The REPL causes a terminal screen to come up, so let's zoom in a little bit. And with this you can interrogate like the visual tree and identify all the objects that are on here. And for a terminal window it even has IntelliSense, so that's great. You can just do app dot and we can say query, which will give us everything that is on screen, so that's a bit much, with all the properties that are useful to you, like a text or a class, or is it enabled, and where are the coordinates, or where is it on the screen. And there's a lot here. You can see the UI button label with the resets. That should be our button here at the bottom. And you can also query for a specific control. So we can query for, well, let's see, what did we have here? The reset button. And here you will see it has the ID reset. So if you go app query reset, we'll just give you the reset button. So there's a more compact view to all this. You can just type tree and it will give you a tree with all the controls that are on the screen right now. You can see how they're nested together and all that kind of stuff. You can also interact with the screen, so you can also say add clear text, and here you have to use the ID of the control again, so I know that it's called subtotal, and you will see that, yep, the price is gone without me interacting with the application. But I can also say, okay, I want to enter text, and let's say we want to put in a very expensive coffee of $5. We say OK. Oops. I need to enter where this needs to go, of course. Subtotal field. And there we go. Without doing anything, we see that 5 boxes are getting there. And you also see that the soft keyboard is coming up. So we have to account for that, because else we can have some unwanted behavior. This is keyboard to make it go away again. And now we can say, okay, add tab drink type. You can tab that, and you can say add tab. We can see espresso right down here, right? So let's just take a guess and see if we can tap that. Okay, we can tap espresso, and then we say add tab done. See if it recognizes the system done button as well, and it does. So that's great. And like this, we are just walking through our application and seeing that everything works as expected. So now we need to do something where we can base our asserts on, right? Because now we're just walking through it and we're tapping things, and it's all fun and games. But we also need to verify that the values that are equal to each other to see if our logic is correct. So we can say app query, and the field is called total, and it's now total 5, which is what we expect. So now I've typed all these commands, and it's really great. It did something with my simulator window, and to get it all as a test back in my Visual Studio. Now to get all the commands that I've just entered here, I can just say copy, and it will copy all of the history to my clipboard. So then I get back here, let's just exit this as well already, which stops our tests. And if I just paste it here, you see what there's some stuff in here that I tried but didn't succeed, so we don't need this. And this is wrong as well. So here's just gonna, here we go, here's the test we can work with. It's going to clear the text and subtotal, then it's going to enter $5, it's going to dismiss the keyboard while we're at it. Then it's going to select the drink type espresso, tap done, and we're going to query the total. So another thing we might want to do here is to put some app.screenshots in here. Screenshot, which will make sure that a screenshot is taken right at this point, so you can also detect UI flaws with this, and you can give it some description. $5, and oops, this one's keyboard, and here we selected the espresso. Select espresso, and here we want to assert, which can just be done like you're probably used to, assert or equal, and then here's the expected value. So this was, what was it, to $5, and here, as we just saw, the app query is going to give us potentially a collection, so we want to get the first and then get the text. And like that, we've created our first text. And now when I rebuild this project, you can see the test is succeeded here. So even when you do not have any asserts in there, it will still validate that every control that you try to query and that kind of stuff exists actually on screen. So even with no asserts in your test, it will still be functional to you. Because when a control isn't available, it will give an exception, your test will fail, and you will know that you have made a mistake. So now our project has been built again, and if I double click on the test1 test again, it will run just this test, and we will see that we will get a fresh session with the simulator again. The app will reboot. At the bottom here you can see the overall progress, and it will flash the device agent once more. And right after that, we will see our coffee tip come up, and the subtotal is cleared, $5 is entered, and it selects the espresso, done, and it will check if the total is $5 later, and we can see that our test has succeeded right here. So that's great, that's awesome. Now we could run the whole test suite here if we wanted to, but I'm not going to do that right now. So another thing that I want to show you because while this is very nice, you do need to have a full developer setup and knowledge with what you're doing, namely typing C# and that kind of stuff, while the test scripts can be written by testers, which do not necessarily need to know how to code. So Xamarin came up with something else, which is the Xamarin Test Recorder. It should come up right now. And this is a very nice tool. You can just say, okay, select the device. In this case, let's stick with the iPhone 7 that's already booted up. And here you see some apps which I have already added before this. But I'm going to go with the coffee tip once more. And it's going to start the app and connect the session, just like we've seen when running the tests before. So it's going to start the app in a little bit. Device agent coming through. And now our coffee tip app should be getting started. There we go. And now with this screen, we can easily just say record, and it is recording. And we can just walk through this application. And here we go. Enter $5 again. And I don't know why it thinks there's 25. There's 5. And we're going to go for a latte this time. And it's standard, so the tip is $1, so a total of 6. Maybe you'd like to tap this last one just to get the ID from here. And here on the left side, you can see all the steps that I've taken right now. You can even edit them from right here. You can say, okay, I want to tap on custom or coordinates or whatever. And this camera icon here says, okay, I want to take a screenshot of this, yes or no. It doesn't really show in the code right here, but it will in a little bit. And you can say clear, you can say, okay, I don't want to do this tap, I want to remove this step. And it all translates into one line of code here on the right side, which is put in a new test method. So, okay, I think our test is done for now. And we can say stop. And we can say, okay, I want to run it to just see it play and validate that all our steps are as we expect them to be. So there we go. The app's coming up again. You can see the subtotal is cleared out and 5 is entered. The latte is selected, timbre, and that's it, because we didn't do anything else right now. So just like with the REPL screen, I can just here export my test, and I can say, okay, I want to copy the output, which simply copies this as plain text onto your clipboard, and you can paste it anywhere. Or you could say export UI test, which will do a little bit more. It will generate some code for you. And you can say I want to generate a whole project. Another thing you can say from right here is send it to Test Cloud. So this packages up the test and sends it over to Test Cloud right now, which enables you to select the devices that you want to test this on and run the test right away. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to copy the output again. And well, let's just replace this one. And here we go. And you can see the app.screenshot is being added here. It actually copies this new test as well. And here you can see our whole test is written out. And the only thing you need to do is, again, add the assert. And that's why I tap the total label at the last point, so you can easily find this total field. Here you can see it's using some other stuff. It's using the marked and with the ID. So this is the way to manually kind of find the controls. But the way I just did it is a shorthand. You can just say, okay, add, tab, and you can say total, which does exactly the same thing as this line. Okay, so when we've created all our tests, we can now, as we've seen, you can run them locally. But what we were really after is to leverage the power of the Xamarin Test Cloud. So let's switch over to Xamarin Test Cloud to see what that looks like. This is the Xamarin Test Cloud portal. I'm already logged in. You can see I'm in Team Awesome, hell yeah. And I have some apps tested before, which are over here. And you can create a new test run by clicking on the top right here. By doing that, you can select a app that you've been using previously, or you can set up a new app if you want to. Let's just stick with an app that I've added already. Let's go with an Android client for now. Let me zoom in a little bit. And here we can select all the devices that we want to test on. So these are sorted by the estimated wait time. Because these are all physical devices, so they can just spin up 10 more and to reduce the queue times. These are all actual devices, so you are delivered to the Test Cloud gods and how many people are using the devices right now, and that's the time you have to wait. So they've added this option, so you can select some devices that have short queue times, if that's what you want, but you're probably going to want to look at the availability sorting, which gives you the devices that are the most used out there in the world. So the LG Nexus 5 would be the most popular device right now, and you can select them by this, but there's also some other options. So you can choose between tablet or phone, and a lot of manufacturers. So if you've always wanted to test on a Lava, then you can go here and select the Lava Iris X1. And you can create all kinds of different configurations here. So I've now selected 7 devices. I click next. You can divide your tests into series. I'm not going to do that right now. It doesn't really do anything other than divide them up. And you can choose the system language. So there's a few languages here which you can choose from. Let's just stick to English. And then you are presented with a command line here. This way you can send a app along with the according tests to Test Cloud menu. So this is for OS X because it sees on your Mac. And there's also one for Windows, which doesn't do that much different. And as you can see, there's also some other frameworks that are supported, like Calabash, Appium, and Espresso. And this is basically it. If you click done, this is gone. So it doesn't save anything right now, but it just provides you with this definition that you can use from your command prompt. And if we look into detail into this, you can see here that these devices are bundled in some kind of hash, and this way it knows on what devices it should run. So I've prepared that on beforehand, and I need to go into the right folder. This part. Yes. Okay. So here I have the coffee tip epoch file and a folder which contains my UI test assemblies and the test cloud executable, because everything just basically runs on the from the command line. So if I just press enter here, this is going to negotiate the file upload, and you see the files are being uploaded to the test cloud right now. Upload is completed. You get some ID back, and it will start validating our uploaded test. We should see this reflected here in the web portal. You can see it's validating here as well. Here is another run I did earlier. So let's go into this. And this is what Xamarin Test Cloud looks like for a specific app. You can here see that 1 out of 3 tests have failed on 3 out of 3 devices. So you can see right here that my tests aren't succeeding, so you can see something's wrong. You can also see the device time it took to run these tests, and the complete runtime is 10 minutes on 3 devices, etc. etc. But the really cool thing is here over on the left, you can see all the tests that are defined. And we have one here, which is called the at Starbucks. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So you can see the awesomeness up close. And you can see that this is ran on 3 devices, the iPhone 5s, 6, and 6 Plus. And here you can see a screenshot on each device. So with each step, a screenshot is taken. So here you can also see there's the description that comes with the screenshot. I run the app and I enter $5. Then I toggle Starbucks, so you'll probably see this toggle go. And the total tip is $5 with a $0 tip. And you can see that's correct for all devices. Okay, so that's good. And if I want to know some specifics about a device, you can click on it, and you can see, okay, what's the memory usage for each step, or the CPU usage. And you can even see the full size screenshot, which is delivered here to you. And you can see the device log, test log. I'll come back to that in a minute, because here we have a failed test. So let's close this window here. And you can see, okay, this is going great. I tap the drink type, so the menu is opened on all 3 devices. Okay, great. I tap the pour over coffee. Okay, great. Dismiss the keyboard. And here things are starting to go wrong. And you can see now it's going wrong for all 3 devices. And if this was just going wrong for one device, then you would just see this red dot for just the device that gives an error. So now if you want to know what's going wrong exactly, you can click on the device again and see what's going on. And you can see, okay, I can look into the device log and see what's going on here, but this is kind of cryptic, so this doesn't really tell me anything. So let's just go here to the test failures. And it says, okay, tampered is enabled when it shouldn't be, because expected false but was true. So there was an assert added here, and we had to assert something is false, that the tampered switch, tampered toggle should have been disabled, but it's still enabled. So that's wrong. So either our assert is wrong, or our test is wrong, or the functionality is wrong. So we need to check into that and fix it. Now the really cool thing about this is this is going wrong for all 3 devices, but I had this one test when I was actually working on this, and this is really great stuff, because it does not only check if the button is in the visual tree or any element, not just a button, but I had this UI created, kind of similar to this coffee tipper UI, which had this screen here, and also a button at the bottom, but I didn't get the layout correct, or I forgot to put in a scroll view, one of both. And I had the new iPhone 6, which was just out then. And that was great. It has a nice big screen, and the layout was looking great. And I was creating this app, and I sent it over to Test Cloud, and I tested it on not just my iPhone 6, because I tested it while it was in my hand, so testing wasn't really necessary for that device. And I also selected the iPhone 5, iPhone 4, so some different form factors. Now, when the test started to run, I didn't expect any problems actually, but some devices were failing, namely the older iPhones that were smaller than an iPhone 6. And why? Because the button went out of view. So Test Cloud actually checks if the user can reach the control that you have specified. And if it can, then it will fail your test. So that's what I said earlier. Even if you do not have any assert in your code, it still is very useful to write these tests to just know if your UI is behaving the way that you're expecting it to be, and your user can do everything that they should. So that's basically what I have for you today. You can also integrate your tests in VSTS in your automated builds, so that's very awesome stuff as well. Maybe I'll cover that in a next episode. This is just basically for creating the tests and getting a little insight in Xamarin Test Cloud. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and you will join me for the next one. Please reach out to me on Twitter if you have any questions or comments, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.